And somewhere beyond all the strategies, all the analytics, all the growth phases you've crossed, there comes a quiet realization that this journey was never just about the channel. It was about you becoming someone who can start without certainty, continue without validation, and improve without guarantees, because most people never reach this level. Not because they lack talent, but because they stop too early. They quit in the invisible phase where nothing seems to be happening, and what they don't realize is that the invisible phase is where everything is actually being built. There's a hidden truth about consistency that only reveals itself over time. It's not about showing up when you feel like it. It's about showing up especially when you don't, because those are the moments that define your discipline, your seriousness, your commitment to the process. And when you stack enough of those moments together, something powerful happens. You become unstoppable, not because you're perfect, but because you refuse to stop. At this level, motivation becomes irrelevant because you no longer depend on it. You've built a system, a routine, a mindset that operates even when you're tired, even when you're distracted, even when things aren't going your way. And this is what separates temporary creators from long-term builders, because one relies on feelings, the other relies on structure. There's also a deeper awareness of time, because you begin to understand that every video you create is an investment, not just in views or subscribers, but in your future, in your skills, in your growth. And this perspective changes how you approach your work, because you're no longer thinking short term. You're building something that compounds over time. And then there's the realization that comparison is one of the biggest distractions in this journey. Because while you're focused on what others are doing, you lose focus on what you should be doing. And this shift from comparison to concentration is what allows you to move faster, think clearer, and create better. There's also a moment where you stop seeking approval, where you no longer need validation from views, likes, or comments to continue. Because you've built internal confidence, a belief in your process, your ability, your direction. And this confidence is what allows you to take risks, to experiment, to push boundaries without fear. At this stage, failure loses its power completely, because you've experienced it enough times to understand that it's temporary, that it's part of the process, that it's actually necessary for growth. And this removes hesitation, because when you're not afraid to fail, you're free to create without limits. And then something even more powerful happens. You start enjoying the process again. Not because it's easy, but because you understand it. You've accepted the ups and downs, the slow phases, the breakthroughs. And this acceptance creates a kind of peace, a stability that keeps you moving forward without pressure. There's also a shift in how you define success, because it's no longer just about numbers. It's about progress, about improvement, about becoming better than you were yesterday. And this internal measurement keeps you grounded, keeps you focused, and prevents you from getting lost in external expectations. But even with all this growth, all this understanding, one truth remains. Nothing is guaranteed, because the platform can change, the audience can shift, trends can disappear. And this uncertainty is what keeps the journey alive. What forces you to stay sharp, to stay adaptable, to stay committed to learning. And as everything comes together, as all the lessons connect, there's one final realization that stands above everything else. The power was never in the platform, never in the algorithm, never in the trends. It was always in your ability to start, to continue, to adapt, and to keep creating. Despite everything, because in a world full of people waiting for the right moment, the ones who succeed are the ones who move anyway.